Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us. I want to thank our Council President, Shannon Hardin, and Columbus City Council, our Human Resources Director, Nikki Brandon, and all of her colleagues at the department, Ed Leonard, the Director of Franklin County Board of Elections, and all the outstanding employees here at the board. It is a beautiful but chilly day here in Columbus. And we are thrilled to be here at the Board of Elections, where starting next week, residents can participate in early voting. We've had an unprecedented year in so many ways: a global pandemic, an economic recession, a national reckoning for racial justice, and now what is shaping up to be a very divisive election. So I'm happy to announce today that the City of Columbus will allow its employees to work the polls on Election Day without having to take vacation time. They will be able to be part of the process of assuring that our election is fair and safe. I want to especially thank Director Brandon for working so hard with our unions to make this possible. I also want to take this opportunity to encourage everyone to vote. Your vote is your voice, and it's critically important now that this community, this state, and this country hears your voices. There's still time to register, still time to request a mail-in ballot, and plenty of time for early voting starting next week. For those who choose to vote on Election Day, I'm happy that city workers can help be part of that process. And neighbors, we've heard a lot of fiery rhetoric lately about the national election. We've heard a lot from fringes on either extremes, a lot of hate. There are fringe groups and individuals in this country who do not share our country's values. There are people who believe that change can only come from violence. But our election process in Ohio is orderly, transparent, and bipartisan. And the will of the people in November will be respected. So I'm calling on everyone to commit to support order, peace, and the rule of law in all aspects surrounding this election. I've won some races and I've lost some races, but I have complete and total confidence in this board, the employees here, to make sure that every vote will be counted and that this election will be fair, and all of us need to respect the outcome. It's now my pleasure to introduce our great partner on this and so many efforts about protecting and making sure that everyone is participating in the voting process, Council President Shannon Harden.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate your continued work with City Council to promote a safe election this season. In 2004, as a high school junior, I worked hard on the presidential campaign. The result was obviously not what I was hoping for, but what stuck with me were the long lines. People waiting hours all across Ohio. In fact, in Gambia, Ohio, the home of Kenyon College, they had 2 voting machines for thousands of students. I'll read an excerpt from a magazine that ran right after the election. By the time the polls closed at 7:30 that evening, the lines of those waiting to vote was still way outside the community center and well into the parking lot. By the time the 1,000 plus voters in the precinct had all their ballots cast, it was almost 4 in the morning, and many had to wait up to 11 hours to vote. In reactions to stories like this, my classmates and I at Columbus Alternative High School created Youth at the Booth, a program that gives high school students of voting age the opportunity to work at the polls on Election Day. We figured that would not only help shorten the lines by having more hands on deck to assist, but the program would expose high schoolers to the electoral process and democracy at work. This year we have new challenges. We have enough voting machines here in Franklin County, but we are facing COVID-19 and a whole class of folks who think that making voting accessible isn't part of their job description. Columbus City Council, Mayor Ginther, and our residents understand that protecting democracy is everyone's responsibility. That's why we're making Election Day a paid holiday for any employee who wants to serve as a poll worker. I'm fired up because Columbus is going to be ready for this election. If some folks lie and tell us we can't vote by mail, Columbus will show up on October 6th to vote early, right here at the Early Vote Center. If some folks lie and tell us we are ineligible, we will triple check our registration and know that we are good to go. We know that some people don't want us to make our voices heard, and that makes me even more resolute that we're going to have a safe and accessible election. I'm optimistic because I know our city and this county board of elections is prepared, because I know our residents really do care about this country, this city, and most importantly, we care about our democracy. With that, I would like to turn the podium over to someone who really made this happen, who did the work of, like the mayor said, working with our unions, our Director Nikki Brandon.
Good morning. I'd like to thank our Mayor Ginther, and President Harden for all of their words and all of the reasons why we're here today. That's why I had to do what I could to address the call for additional workers. We don't need to have an election where there aren't enough employees working the polls, and because of that reason, the mayor asked me to answer that call. We worked with our union leaders, and we agreed to have official election paid leave. This is a one-time opportunity for the 2020 election, and it is really necessary because of the virus and the decrease in workers at the polls. So what we've done, we've allowed our city employees to opt to work the polls on election day and do so without using their personal leave time. We have always encouraged our employees to be engaged in the process, and historically they've done so by using personal leave. This year, this is the opportunity for our employees to be engaged in a process that is extremely important and to do so without using their time. So I would like to thank President of City Council, but especially our mayor, who saw a problem and addressed it. If you have any questions for me, I will be here, but at this time, I'd like to introduce the Director of the Franklin County Board of Elections, Mr. Ed Leonard.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here and helping us get the word out to the public about the need for poll workers. I want to extend my thanks to Mayor Ginther, Council President Harden, as well as Director Brandon, for the confidence that they've displayed in the work that we're doing and the effort that they've put forward to make city employees available, make it easier for city employees to take that time, and actually encouraging them to be poll workers in this upcoming election. And the city, I have to also say, is the city's been an incredible partner in so many respects in terms of our ability to help put on elections year in and year out. And this is just adding to the confidence that they've shown in us and the partnership that they've had with us over the years by extending this opportunity for city employees to work the polls and step forward and be on the front lines of democracy. The COVID-19 pandemic has created challenges for boards of elections throughout the country. During the primary season, there were news accounts in many states showing long lines, limited polling locations, and those long lines in the primaries were in many states were the result of poll worker shortages. And so, again, requiring consolidation of precincts. And once we put the primary to bed, our focus was really on making sure we lined up poll workers for the upcoming general election. And our poll worker outreach has been, working nonstop to identify groups to reach out to, working with local municipalities, working with, again, local groups, attorneys, accountants, church groups, again, anyone who is willing to step forward. And so Franklin County Board of Elections has been incredibly inspired and pleased with the outpouring of public support that we've received to our efforts to recruit poll workers. Thousands of Franklin County voters have stepped forward to serve on the front lines of democracy as poll workers, and they really are. Those poll workers are the front line of democracy. We train them, we prepare them to be there, but really the public doesn't see the folks here who work at the Board of Elections day in and day out, the people they see are those poll workers. And so it's their neighbors, their friends, their family members working on the front lines. And so, we're incredibly pleased to be working with the City of Columbus, Mayor Ginther, Council President Harden, Director Brandon, to in this effort to work with city employees and allow city employees to step forward and be a part of that process of working on election day and being there and helping us help voters cast their ballots. Because again, this is an incredibly important election, and we want to make sure that we have sufficient poll workers. We are well on our way to placing them. Our staff is working to train poll workers, place poll workers, and getting them ready to be there on the front lines. And so again, I express my appreciation to the City of Columbus for its support, for Mayor Ginther and Council President Harden. I do want to extend my thanks to Council President Harden for his work on the Youth at the Booth program, because again, the Youth at the Booth program has been a tremendous asset to the Board of Elections for many years now, because of his hard work to establish that we have young people at the polls, and who are, as they work the polls as young students, that they go on to continue to serve with us as poll workers. And so I want to extend an exceptional thanks to Council President Harden for his role in that. And I want to express my thanks to Mayor Ginther for his words of encouragement and support for the work that we do. Because oftentimes people don't realize what we do here at the Board of Elections and all that goes in to putting on an election. And so expressing support for the work that we do, again, is tremendously appreciated. And I'd be remiss if I didn't take an opportunity to talk about the fact that early vote starts here on Tuesday, October 6th. We have evening hours later in the cycle for the 28 days. We'll be open, and we've expanded our footprint so it's safer for voters to come and cast their ballot. We have more machines available. We're able to process more voters more quickly. And so again, we encourage people, if they're not going to use the vote by mail option, that they come here to the Board of Elections and utilize the opportunity to vote in person. And then also here at the Board of Elections at 1700 Morris Road, we're going to have the ballot drop-off as well, a drive-through ballot drop-off. So those who would rather not put their ballot in the mail, if they've gotten an absentee ballot, that they can come here to the Board of Elections, drop their ballot off with us in a drive-through drop-off area, and get that vote cast, because we want to make sure that everybody has that opportunity. And just so everyone knows, on Tuesday, we'll have over 200,000 absentee ballots in the mail. So if you've requested an absentee ballot, to be on the lookout for it, fill it out right away, get it back to us right away, because again, we're here to serve you and be at service for the citizens of Franklin County, but we want to make sure that voters exercise that right as quickly and as safely as they can. And so with that, again, I want to extend my thanks to Mayor Ginther and all of City Council and Council President Harden and Director Brandon for their support of our efforts here at the Board of Elections to recruit poll workers so that we could have them on the front lines of democracy in Franklin County.
Well, we are grateful to Ed and the entire team here at the board as he went through everything they're putting in place. It just helps reinforce the confidence that voters are going to be able to participate in many different ways, whichever way they feel comfortable, by mail, early, in person, or at their polling location on election day. And that's what this is all about. We think that America and this community works best when more voices are heard and are part of the process. That has been true throughout our country and community's history, and it is more important now than ever before. Again, thanks to Director Brandon and Council for making it possible for city workers to participate in this process without using personal time. And again, Columbus, let's vote by mail, in person early, or at your polling location on election day. And let's recommit to a safe and fair election, an election and a process that we can all have confidence in. Now we'll be happy to take any questions that the press might have. Any questions? Yes, sir.
For Ed, with the addition of the city workers, will Franklin County have enough poll workers for this election?
Yes, I believe we'll have. I believe the Franklin County Board will have enough poll workers. We again have had a tremendous outpouring of support from the public, from Franklin County, who has a similar program for Franklin County employees, and other jurisdictions like Columbus Public Library and others, that we will have enough poll workers for the November election.
About how many more do you need at this point? How many more poll workers are needed?
Well, we're still in the process of placing individuals. Our goal is 5,700. We've got beyond that number in terms of people who have expressed interest in being poll workers, and so we're working on placing and scheduling those voters for those poll workers for training. But again, we always want to make sure that we've got more than even our target goal, because voters may decide to change their mind. The pandemic is such a dynamic state that we want to make sure we have more than enough poll workers so that we can be able to ensure that we have every spot filled, and to be able to take on some of the other tasks like making sure all the voting equipment is cleaned and making sure that we can accommodate curbside voting.
Is there a deadline or the time that people need to sign up, register?
Well, we would encourage people to sign up, but no, there really isn't a deadline. We train poll workers up to the very last days before the election. So, but again, if you are interested, we encourage people to contact us as soon as possible. So,
Mayor, any reaction to the news that the President of the United States has tested positive for COVID?
Well, obviously, you know, I think it's important for all of us in this community to lift them up in prayers. You know, anytime our president or any of our neighbors falls ill to this. So I lift up and pray for he and the First Lady and the members of his staff, but all of our neighbors here in Columbus too, who have gotten sick with COVID-19, or the thousands of folks we've lost across the state, those families that have lost loved ones. This is an incredible time for this country, in the midst of a global pandemic that we haven't seen in over 100 years. And so now is the time for us to be lifting each other up in prayer, in support, because all of us are better when we're safer and healthier.
Council President, do you have any reaction to the news of the President's COVID test?
I would just echo the mayor's statement, and it's just a reminder that this virus is real. And that we all need to take it seriously. We all need to do as much as we can to keep each other safe, continue to wear a mask, continue to social distance, continue to listen to our health officials, because this virus is still amongst us, and we must take it seriously.
Thanks, everybody. We'll stick around for a few minutes if you need us. Thank you.